Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here, basically, we are discussing one of the topic that is city creation. In city creation, basically, we are discussing one topic that is why Sunil R. Nair basically is not getting the job. So that is the topic ongoing in India. Basically, why Sunil R. Nair basically is not getting the job. And India, basically, there is one state basically that is called Gujarat. That is of Gujaratis. In Gujarati state, basically, why Sunil R. Nair basically is not getting job. In Gujarat state, basically, there is one city that is Vadodara city. In Vadodara city, Sunil R. Nair basically is not getting the job. That topic actually it is ongoing. So here basically I am taking my example. Basically, in this basically you can add your example also. That you are also not getting the job. Your story, everything, each and every you can incorporate this because this is going to convert to the nuclear bomb basically. That's why. So one other person told that why basically everything basically is like this. So in this topic basically last basically we were discussing about one topic that is when world will end basically. So what would be that first thing basically which is going to end by universe group basically. And they are always ready basically. I am telling you they are always ready. Because they are ending each and every people daily. That means they are always ready. One of the person told me if you check the blood group now basically. For example, just now basically I have given few blood basically to check. In that basically check the previous few days basically there might be death data also. But you can't see that data basically. Why? If you will see that data basically then basically you will not track that planet basically from where the dead data is coming. You will track that data na basically death planet data and then you will basically cover up the universe also basically. One of the person told that also. So one of the person told that there are many poisons basically in this world basically which is created. Cobra poison, this poison, that poison, this poison. Each poison basically have antibiotic. For example, one person basically had taken the cobra poison, but he basically was supposed to die, but he has not died. Why? Because he has got the antibiotic long before basically. Because the group who was handling that particular person, they know that basically this type of poison basically might be given to that particular person. So they were ready basically. So here basically we are not discussing that basically, but here we are discussing so that basically it should be easy to understand basically. That's why basically. So one of the person told that when world will end basically, the first thing basically which is going to end that would be the communication channel. And communication channel basically are controlled by hackers. People says that basically ये तो hacker है यार basically. But real hacker basically you have never seen basically. In India basically there are hacker basically. It's not like that basically they don't have it. There are no hacker basically. They are hackers basically. But in worldwide basically Russia basically is the country who basically is having hackers. Ukraine is the country basically who is having the hackers. They basically hijack your bodies basically. Up to that level hijacking basically they have basically. They can damage your head also basically. They can damage your eye also basically. And there are many American hackers basically who can hack Russian hackers data also basically. Up to that level dangerous people basically are there basically. For example, I will take one example basically. For example, my body is there basically, right? Russian group basically was controlling my body. Something basically they were doing some manipulation. Suddenly basically American people basically hacker basically also hijacked my body. And they basically done some manipulation and both manipulation basically got conflict. That was hijacking basically. Just taking as an example basically. And in this basically what happened? The head basically got damaged. So one person told that basically in one time basically how many country basically can access each and every body parts. This question and answer basically in this world basically nobody might be having basically. Because there is no tracking device only basically created for this. There is no tracking device basically created for this. Because in each and every body of the world basically, assume that basically in India basically there are around 180 crore people basically. Each body are accessed by the computer group basically. And in computer group basically who have the permission basically, who has given the permission, which company basically got the permission that they can access the body parts of the particular person. So assume that basically that is IBM company, they have the access of each and every body parts they can access. So that is India company. I am talking about the India basically. So they can access, and they are assume that basically they are controlled by American basically. But that time basically somebody basically hijacked that person's body who was the resources of IBM. And IBM is not connected with Russia. But they were not able to track that basically. Because there is no tracking device only basically. That before entering the body basically, you can check basically whether an internal some software group company's process is on going or not basically. Because there is no device basically. Because it's very dangerous basically. If you are accessing body parts, it's going to affect to each and every blood cells of the body, and that is directly going to affect your blood head basically, because the process is very fast. And few people know this, so they use their human needs in limit basically, because few people basically are very dangerous basically. They live their life according to their profession basically. So that is also different topic. So one of the person told that this type of thing basically is not. So whenever the world is going to end basically, that day, so just taking as an example, really basically world will not end so soon basically. Lots of tasks basically the universe group might be pending basically. So lots of tasks will happen also. So one of the person told that, but the world end process basically they daily do basically. Universe group basically daily. In emergency basically they can end the world also basically. But they will not end the world so quickly. Why? Because lots of tasks basically are pending. But in emergency they can end the world. That is 100% sure basically. If you want to write in any of the dictionary basically you can write down. Or basically in the book or basically wherever basically. In frame basically you can write down basically. That universe basically group can end world any second, but they will not end so soon basically, but they can end in emergency. In emergency they can end the world. That is 100% sure basically. That each and every software company, each and every companies, each and every shopkeepers have to mark that and write down in the one paper, and basically they have to frame that basically. And here the main thing is the software company started the accessing the each and every body's parts. That is the main thing. And the blood cells process is so fast basically it is going to directly going to affect to the head basically. So that's why human group basically know this of the IT industry. That's why they have given the work from home facility also. Because you can't say that basically one person is basically doing the coding, or basically one person is doing the manager task, one person is doing the CEO task. Some company basically he was basically working in IBM computer. Somebody basically hijacked his body parts, and IBM basically is the property of USA. Russia at that time basically required some data from his body. They immediately hijacked basically his body, because you can't wait basically. Time is very dangerous, and Russian time basically are how dangerous basically everybody knows. They immediately hijacked his body. They taken the data. That time basically America also basically was doing some process in his body basically. Immediately he got heart attack and he died. And this everything human resource of India basically know this. So one of the person told that, assume that basically there are around 2 crore people basically working in a software, in software company basically. Assume that, just taking as an example. In India basically, just taking as an example. So he told that each and every body parts are basically divided. For example, Gujarat body parts basically, whatever people basically who are doing job in Gujarat basically, their body parts are accessed by America. The people who are basically working in Maharashtra, software company people basically, their body parts are accessed by the Russia. Then basically the people who are working in Karnataka, their body parts are accessed by China. Just taking as an example, basically, really basically it might be totally different country. So Bangalore basically body parts are accessed by China group. So they told that means each and every body parts are divided. Then basically what they are doing in the body, yeah, that is the question basically. They are actually doing what basically? They have some chip inside. The blood is equal to chip. Nowadays basically it has converted to that basically. And then basically blood do the process, and then basically what happens basically, what they only know, don't know basically. They are doing the process basically, but they don't know what actually process basically they are doing. This is like basically like this basically. 300-year-old Ram Mandir basically was ended in Ukraine, and then basically just now basically Ayodhya Ram Mandir basically they created in Ayodhya in India. Then why you created there basically Ram temple? That is also a question basically. If you want to end the Ram temple and Ram energy basically, that are 35 cities created from Ram energy, Ram God energy, then why you created that basically? That was also a question basically. And Russian group only basically created Ram temple in Ayodhya because Narendra Damodar Modi is Gujarati and he is friend of Russia group basically. So that is also like this basically. The blood cells accessing that is also exactly like that. IBM is I mean we can't say the IBM basically. We can't give the name as IBM. We have to give the name as America. America is accessing the blood cells. Europe is accessing the blood cells. So one of the person told that ये सब मतलब क्या चल क्या रहा है basically. Then he told that basically this is exactly connecting to the CAA process basically. That is the rules basically, which was implemented by BJP basically. But actually that was supposed to implement by Congress basically. Because 1983 when the World Cup basically was won basically, that time Congress was the ruling party basically in Delhi. They were supposed to do, but they were confused actually. करे क्या मतलब यार basically? Because they know that basically this is Ram Mandir Mudda, and they know that also basically that few countries are going to end also basically. Because their Ram Mandir temple is also there, and their also energy is also there. They were supposed to clear basically that time basically that ये मतलब यहाँ here basically also Ram temple is there, but you are going to end this country, and basically you are going to create Ram temple in Ayodhya basically in India. So what is that basically? They can't clear the question basically. Because that time basically Congress basically party was just connected to international level basically, because on the base of software company basically, and that was Infosys, Microsoft, TCS. This whole group basically jumped outside India basically. They actually jumped actually. So that basically Indian group basically can ask question to international level basically. Because literally they jumped actually. And by jumping basically what happens that everybody knows. If you jump from 4th stair to ground floor, then basically you just imagine what are the things going to happen. So the IT industry basically jumped to outside India, and they only know basically what are the things happen. So now basically India groups told that basically now basically we can ask the question basically what are the questions, what are the answers, and few country basically can't give because it's very secret basically. Because if you are if you ask the question basically like this which is going to connect to the country basically, which is going to be ended by that group basically, who is going to give the answer, then basically the country basically will say that basically which kind of question basically you are asking basically, because we are only going to end that country basically. So you want to leak this information basically, that we are going to end that country. So one of the person told that the news reporter basically who are Indian news reporter who basically visits the international level basically they gets the fixed question basically that you have to ask this question only basically. You are not supposed to add the extra question basically because extra question basically might connect to that topic also and you are asking to that country only basically which country is going to end that country basically and the question is connecting to that country. So nowadays basically asking the question also basically it's very dangerous. And news reporter basically gets 5 crore 10 crore salary basically per month. And it's very dangerous job basically. Because it's going to affect the entire country. That reporter basically was Indian. So like that. So nowadays to ask the question is also very, very dangerous. So here the topic is what? Communication channel is the first basically which is going to end first. That is 100% sure basically, I am telling you. So one of the person basically asked the question, how basically country communicates with each other? Because each country know that basically each and every countries are basically watched by the universe group basically that what these people are doing basically. So secret communication basically that is told that is basically known as a barter system basically. Still basically barter system exists. If one country will give that country will give this. That means this is the system basically which has to implement. So communication channel is the worst thing basically which is going to end. That is 100% sure. So one of the person told me how many communication channels are there? There is only one communication channel. That is computer only basically. And which is controlled by hackers group basically. That is controlled by hackers group. And hackers group are the group basically whose everything is going to end first. So one of the person told that basically each and every country government basically have to watch to hackers group basically that what actually they are doing. And you can't basically directly tell that basically ये तो hacker है भाई. You can't tell directly because you lots of bad tasks also with them basically, that's why. And if public will know that basically each and every banks basically, each and every World Bank, each and every Union, each and every Switzerland bank, every bank are connected with the hackers, then basically what they are going to do basically. But hackers are very professional group basically because they know anything basically can happen. So one other person told that hackers is the group basically whose data is going to end first. Hackers is the group whose data is going to end first. That is the communication channel which is going to end first in this world. Communication channel is the thing basically which is going to end first. So one other person told that how communication channels are created. Because when you are calling someone basically, that is the wireless basically. There is no wire, nothing is there basically. But then how it's getting communicated basically? That is also a question. One of the person told that tower is there basically. But how everything is connecting basically? Then basically Oxford group came into the picture. We have settled the everything basically in the environment that if this company is calling them, this data only basically they can access. If this company is calling, this data only they can access. And that data are created from whom? From human needs basically. That is vegetables, fruits, then wheats, then oils, petrols. These all are petrol basically we can say as a human needs, but it's not going into the body. But its energies are going into the body, and that's very dangerous because it's helping into the process basically. Few software companies has created the petrol basically from the software also. Reason, they want to do the process basically inside the body basically, because petrol is one of the thing basically which is doing process inside the body basically. So that basically in detail basically UAE group basically might be knowing what actually I am want to say. That's why the age of the each and every people basically doesn't cross 100, because they are doing the process na basically. So one of the person, that is basically also a different thing basically. So one of the person told that lots of people basically only work from home basically. They basically don't do outside also basically. Few people says that basically they are working from home basically since when the software company basically started in India only. That is also different topic basically. So one of the person told that communication channel basically are created like this basically. Just now basically I discussed, and for this basically many videos basically also I have uploaded. So one of the person told that if you are creating one software basically, it's very dangerous basically. So SAP company, Microsoft, Salesforce, C++, Java group, PHP, Python, these all groups are basically doing very dangerous tasks. Very dangerous tasks. Because it's connecting the communication directly basically. Because Microsoft also have to give the communication line basically to the Oxford group basically. SAP also have to give the communication line to the Oxford group, because in world basically, in front of the world basically, it's Oxford basically who are connecting to each and every languages. That is in front of the world, but in real basically it's Sanskrit group also, and Sanskrit group are also in front of the world. There are some communication channels basically that are the symbolic language, that are the real thing basically. On the base of this symbol, this language is created. So you can just imagine basically how dangerous things are basically there. And each and every numbers are basically connected with the universe basically. For example, one number is there, same one number symbol is there in the universe, and one number basically is having crores of planet basically, and that basically we have already discussed. So here basically what we are discussing, communication basically is a thing which is going to end first. That is 100% sure basically. But before communication also that might be basically, I can think up to this level only basically. Before communication also lots of things basically might be there basically. Because there are lots of human bodies basically who are directly connected with the environment basically. Their body parts basically, body energies are connected with the environment. If anything happens to their body basically, body parts, immediately the communication channel gets effect basically. That's why few people basically sits at office only basically. They don't do lots of major tasks basically. So you can just imagine basically. They get in crores of money basically, because their energies are getting used basically. So hacker equal to whole world computer. This is one formula basically we can say. Hackers equal to whole world communication channel also you can say basically. Hackers equal to whole world computer companies, that also you can say. Hackers equal to 700 crore computers in this world which are basically active basically, deactive basically, off also basically. So as if that basically 700 crore computers basically are there in the world, and 100 crore laptop basically are there in the world basically, and this 800 crore basically are connected with the hackers. So how basically they might be handling basically, that is also basically question basically. Lots of process basically happens automatically, that is basically given name as a AI tool basically. So you can just imagine basically it's very dangerous thing basically. The world is already created. Now you can't do anything basically. That's why basically Supreme Court, High Courts basically whenever they give any permission to creation basically they takes lots of time basically. They are not fool basically. For example, Ram temple they created, they have taken the time basically. Because each creation is going to affect to the whole world basically. And it's going to directly going to affect to the communication channel basically. So Microsoft Corporation basically created their communication channel. SAP is created basically their communication line basically. Each big software company and there basically Microsoft is basically using their tool. SAP is using their tool. PHP is using their tool. PHP is one of the DLL basically, which might be of Java also basically. It might be possible. It might be of Microsoft also. And Salesforce also basically might be of Salesforce.dll basically. Also basically might be of Java also or basically might be of Microsoft also basically. It might be possible. I am not 100% sure basically. Because we don't have proof basically. And without proof basically you can't say 100%. But here basically world end basically is going to end. That also basically we don't have proof basically. That world is 100% going to end. But daily basically people dies. That also basically you can check from the blood cells. But you will never get that blood basically. Why? Because if you will get the blood then basically you will track the roadmap basically of the death planet. How many death type of death basically are there in the earth planet. So one of the person told that communication is the first thing basically which is going to end in this world basically. When world will start and world will end basically within just few seconds basically. Because universe group basically never going to give the time also basically. Because they know that basically human bodies are very powerful. That's why they are ending the people basically daily. They are basically not like that basically. They are ending the people basically daily. There might be some reason basically. There might be some reason. So same way basically each software company also basically might be activating, deactivating because they can't kill the blood cells. They might be activating, deactivating periodically. For example, Microsoft have, just taking very dangerous example, if Microsoft will watch this video basically he will say basically you should supposed to be in Microsoft. Assume that basically Microsoft have 100 crore blood cells in 100 crore people body. So one body basically contains one Microsoft blood cells. So 100 crore blood cells, 100 crore people body. So they basically periodically, that might be weekly, monthly, but it might not be daily because it's very huge expense basically. They are activating, deactivating the blood cells. Sometimes basically Microsoft person basically, if he is sitting in the Microsoft tool basically or .NET or basically some Microsoft management tool basically, sometimes he will say that basically यार ये कैसे करने का, but he might be doing daily basically that thing basically. Reason, he deactivated the Microsoft has deactivated the blood cells, and deactivation basically happens when he is sitting in the computer. That is the rule basically. And this basically Microsoft group basically might be knowing or might not be knowing, because they should know basically. Why? Because it's their property basically. They should know basically what their properties are basically getting used where. That's why basically software company basically when they give the tax basically to the government, they should know basically that tax money basically where they are using, and government have to give that brief basically. Why? Because it's a money of the Microsoft, money of the SAP, money of the eClearX, money of the TCS basically. They are paying the tax basically. So few people told that basically government basically might give also. That's why basically the government are created by some group and they have given some certain level of access on it. And how basically government has created that also basically we have already discussed. Because text box equal to 1,000 cities, government might be knowing 100% they might be knowing basically, but they might not be knowing that basically this is text box. Text box basically the people who are basically literated in the computer they might be knowing this is a text box. So there are many group basically who are basically into the political, they basically takes the training in the software company, so in the companies, in the institute, in the software companies, few people basically work also basically in the software company for certain time. So you can just imagine basically. So Microsoft basically also might be knowing or might not be knowing that their blood cells basically might be getting activated and not. But they should know now basically. If they are paying any tax basically, where their monies are getting used, they should 100% know yeah, basically. But they will give the information. They will give the information. Government will give the information. That's why government is also created. So one of the person told that BJP created by Congress, Aam Aadmi created by BJP. Few people says that basically who actually is the political writer, who actually written Congress, BJP and Aam Aadmi Party, because they know text box equal to 1,000 cities, and they know that basically who is the hacker. ये जो जा रहा है ये hacker है. Who is the hacker of Dell computer? Who is the hacker of IBM computer? Who is the hacker of HP computer? HP computer means HP equal to 200 crore computers. 200 computers are basically controlled by this particular group basically. That is the 100 people basically. That are the hackers basically. Who is going to know first that world end has started. And this everything basically is going to happen just within 1 second. And before hackers basically it might possible that power company basically might be knowing this. But power company basically might be decode, they have to decode the computer data basically. Because how the communication basically that they might not be knowing it. Because roadmap of computer communication commands are totally different than the power companies communication roadmaps. Totally different basically. They have created their roadmaps, design everything. Computer groups has created their roadmaps basically. So this group basically might be passing data basically on last day of world and last day ka din ka data. But this group power company will not able to track that. But computer channel basically will get the information that it's a last day of world and last 10 seconds, last few seconds. So you can just imagine basically. And world is already created. Communication channel, everything is created. Everything is created. And one of the satellite person told they are after having this much knowledge, you are not getting the job. That is basically very dangerous thing basically. In happening in India basically. That means you have to investigate basically what is actually happening in India basically. Why basically you are not getting job basically. Few people says that basically 1,000 crore equal to 1,000 cities equal to text box, combo box. 500 city basically we have ended basically. 500 is pending basically. आफ्टर एवरीथिंग बेसिकली एंड देन सॉफ्टवेयर कंपनी विल से दैट बेसिकली भाई सुनील हम तुमको नौकरी दे देते, बट दैट टाइम इट विल बी व्हाट आई वुड डूइंग बेसिकली इन कंप्यूटर बेसिकली, बिकॉज कंप्यूटर ही नहीं रहेगा, कंप्यूटर विल नॉट एग्जिस्ट, because text box you have to display na basically, that is going to display when 1000 city is going to exist basically. So in next video basically we are going to see little bit more about this topic.